Hey y'all, I'm Tracy and welcome back to Just Dig It Farms. Fall is in the air and one of my favorite things to do in the fall is to plant up all of my pots and containers with some beautiful color that's going to carry us through the fall and winter. So y'all join me today as we plant all of these containers around the garden. This is a little nook area on our front porch here where we've utilized it as an outdoor eating space. So I just have a table and chairs here, we have our grill here, and these are our kitchen windows. So I can look out the kitchen windows and see the garden and see this whole area, and I love our view from our kitchen. So Jean built me these nice window boxes here to go in front of each one of my windows, and it's really lovely to be able to look out the window, see some seasonal color, and also to sit at this outdoor eating table and have some beautiful color behind us. I like to plant things in these window boxes that stay really low and that trail over the boxes. I learned real quick on the first year that I planted these that I don't want to do anything that's too tall because it obstructs my view out my window. And I didn't like that very much. So I'm going to keep these very simple for fall and winter color, and I'm using white violas, and I'm putting ivies at the end of each one of these outside beds. And then right here, right here, right here, and right here, I'm going to do some angel vine. Now this is angel vine that I have dug up out of the garden. This stuff just takes over, it goes everywhere in the beds. I planted some on the back of the house and I love it as a ground cover. But I just went back there and dug some up. I've got some good roots here. So I'm going to try to just transplant these into my window boxes and see how well they take and see how well they do. If they don't do well, I'll just pull it out and I'll go buy some. But I've got an abundance of angel vines, so I thought I'd give it a try. In these window boxes, I have some cocoa fiber liners, and I'm just using this Pro Mix to top off and cover up the roots of my little violas and ivy and angel vine here. I also like to top off my pots or window boxes with a little bit of finely ground mulch or gravel or moss or just something to kind of protect the soil and keep it from splashing up on the leaves whenever you water it. And it helps to hold a little bit more moisture into your pots. I have these two beautiful pottery containers here on each side of my steps going onto my porch. And when I do containers, when I want to do a really dramatic, beautiful container, I like to do a thriller, a filler, and a spiller. So I already have my thriller in here that I planted in the spring. This is Red Star Chamaecyparis. And the thriller is the plant that's going to be a little bit taller and more like your focal point of your pot. Then I like to put in my filler. So I have some matrix rose pansies that I'm going to put around the base of my thriller. And then my spiller, I've got some variegated vinca that's in here. I cut it back because it was just going crazy and it, you know, was starting to look bad. So I cut it back, but that'll fill back out and spill over nicely. So I have my thriller, which is Red Star Chamaecyparis. I have my fillers, which is this Matrix Rose Pansy. And I have my spiller that's gonna come over my pot, variegated Vinca. Planting big, beautiful, dramatic containers can be expensive. But if you choose a thriller that is an evergreen and that's going to stay green and pretty from January to January, then that is very helpful. You don't have to replace that every season. And if you choose a spiller that is also a perennial and that's going to just keep coming back and keep being beautiful in your container all year, that's helpful too. And then all you have to do is just get your seasonal color, which for fall and winter for us is violas and pansies and snapdragons. And then for spring and summer, you could do warm season annual color like Vinca or marigolds. So these two pots right here are going to be beautiful and add interest for me, for the garden, for all fall and all winter. And it only cost me about $9 for the pansies. These are my pots by my storage building here, and my thriller in this pot is a Blue Point juniper, and it's been in here for going on 2 years now. So probably by fall of next year, I'm going to need to take this out. I'll plant it somewhere around the farm. I think I'm going to keep adding to the ones I've planted over by the barn as like a screen. Then I'll have to replace my thriller in this pot. And again, I'll choose an evergreen that'll last me 2 or 3 years. So my filler, I'm just using the same pansy, the same Rose Matrix pansy as I did in my other pots. And I don't have a spiller in this pot yet, and I forgot to get one, so I'm gonna have to go back and get a spiller for this pot. This morning I'm working on the entrance into my potager garden a little bit. I have these lovely gates as the entrance into the garden, and on each side of the gates I had a beautiful climbing rose called Clotilde Serpere planted there. It's one of my favorites. It's very, very lovely. There's a climbing and a shrub form of Clotilde Serpere, and on this side it accidentally was the shrub form, so it never got above 2 or 3 feet. And on this side, for some reason, it just never really did well. And it's been a few years now. So I decided to pull those out, and I've just moved them down a little bit to grow on the fence, the front fence wall here, because it's still a very lovely rose. And if it only gets 3 feet high, I'm okay with that because I do love it. But here I wanted a climbing rose that is just going to make a statement and put on a show. So I just replaced Clotilde Serpere on each side of my gates with some Briule. It is a beautiful old garden rose, dates back to 1940. It's a creamy white color, and I think it's going to be really lovely coming up and going down my fence. I hope that this one is going to do better because I really want an impact when you walk into the garden. So this is where the rose is planted right here. It'll come up this and go down the fence. And in front of the rose, I wanted something to be really lovely as well as like the base of the rose. So I've got these beautiful old antique urns. One of these was Jean's grandmother, Grandmother Britnell, and the other one was Jean's great uncle, Uncle Horace. And they were both exceptional gardeners. And these were passed on to Jean and me, and I absolutely love them. They're very, very special. They mean a lot to us. So I want these to be a focal point, along with our gates are very special to us. These gates were given to me by Jean's mom and dad, who now live on the farm with us. She had these in her little secret garden. It was like a little memorial garden for her son, Bill. He passed away at a very early age with cancer, and we created her a little secret garden, like a little memory garden of him. And these gates were a part of her garden. And when they sold their home to move to the farm with us, she gave me these gates, and they truly are the heart of this garden. In designing gardens, I really like to add things like these urns, these gates, different pieces throughout the garden that mean something to me, that evoke memories, that evoke good feelings, and that adds focal point and interest to the garden. So I've got my urns here that are very special to us as focal points to the entrance of my potager garden. And I did have them on the ground, just sitting on the ground. And I had some little germanders planted around them. Germander is an evergreen herb, makes beautiful, lovely little white flowers. And it's an awesome herb. I truly love it. But I wanted something that was going to get a little taller and make a little bit more of a statement here at the entrance. I wanted to lift this urn up off of the ground so that it could be more of an important statement. So I priced out some pedestals, just like some concrete pedestals. Very pricey, very pricey. So I decided to just use a concrete block. And I think it's going to be fine, because right now it's not very pretty, because you can see it and you can see the holes in the block, and it's not very lovely at all. I've got these little boxwoods, little Nana boxwoods, and they're only going to get about 1.5 to 2 feet high. So they're going to cut and they're going to spread. So I've got them in a rounded shape around this concrete block and urn, and they're going to fill out and be evergreen, and I'm just going to kind of keep them very neatly hedged and trimmed to cover up this concrete block. So this is my very inexpensive solution to making this entrance really pretty. I had some extra white violas left from my window boxes, so I just popped them into each urn, and I'm going to get a real pretty trailing vine to go over it. And I think this is really going to be lovely, y'all. If that rose will take off and do well, the climbing rose going up the fence and down the fence with the green foliage and the white roses, with the urn on the pedestal and the green boxwoods going around it. I think that'll be very lovely, very elegant, and very inviting into the potager garden. One thing I gotta do is I gotta make sure this concrete block is pretty secure here. My GreenStalks are another one of my favorite ways to garden in containers. I love my GreenStalks. This one is a new one that I just got a week or so ago, and I just planted it up. I've planted it full of lettuces and thyme and kales and chives and spinach. A big nice salad bowl that we have been harvesting from a little bit, and it's really filling out, so I'm gonna get some good salads from this fall. Now, the cool thing too with these GreenStalks is whenever it gets cold, if we get a freeze, I can just wheel these right inside my foyer there and protect them. Super easy way to protect during the frost during the winter. And they're really beautiful. Now, the GreenStalk itself is an initial investment, but once you get it purchased, sky's the limit with these things. And you don't have to spend a lot of money on plant material. You can just plant seeds in here. You could plant lettuce seeds and kale seeds and just let them germinate in your GreenStalk and grow them like that. And that would be a very inexpensive way to container garden. once you make the initial purchase of the GreenStalk. And if you really want a GreenStalk, wait till it goes on sale. They'll have a good sale around Thanksgiving or so, a good Christmas sale. And we're affiliates with GreenStalk, so you can use our link and our discount code and get $10 off stacked on top of whatever their sale is going to be this year. So this could make a great Christmas present for you or for somebody you love. I also have my other one over here, and this one's full of strawberries. And I love having this one as well. I've had these strawberries in here for 2 years now. As you can see right here, some of my strawberry plants have died out over time. But what I've been doing is just taking the runners. These strawberry plants that are doing well and healthy, they produce these runners right here that come out. And they're little tiny baby strawberry plants. So I've just been taking them and sticking them into the soil and covering them up, and they'll take root and develop more strawberry plants. It is definitely beginning to feel like fall here in central Alabama. It has been in the 70s all day today. It has been so nice, such wonderful weather for gardening. And that's what Jean and I have been doing for the past couple of weeks. We've been getting a lot of chores done here on the farm and getting a lot of gardening projects done as well. And I can't wait to share some of that with y'all next week. If you found value in this video, would you please give us a thumbs up? And if you haven't already, would you please go over and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification button? We post a video every Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Central Time. And if you hit that notification button, you'll be notified as soon as our video posts. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in the garden this week. God bless you, and I'll see you guys next week.